Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As you can see by the title of today's video, we're ranking all the shooting badges in NBA 2K20 in tiers F through S. We're going to start from the bottom, go to the top. I'm going to give my opinions on all these badges, and if you have any disagreements, feel free to leave them in the comments as well. Let me know, drop your comment, and just tell me what you would change yourself. But anyway, without further ado, we'll get straight into this. If y'all could drop a like, sub if you're new, all that good stuff, turn on them noties, and let's try to get to like 500 likes in the first 24 hours. But anyway, like I said, without further ado, we'll get straight into this. So, coming in the F tier, we have Ice and Veins, Pump Fake Maestro, and Flexible Release. Obviously, these two right here on the left are literally unusable. They don't work, they don't function. I don't know why this is even a badge in the first place. This one at least makes sense, but in a park sense, it's not even usable. So, like, this is literally, like, the most unusable badge. Now, when it comes to Pro-Am, it's still not worth putting on because who's going to put on a badge specifically tailored to just help you make free throws in the clutch in a game mode that in one specific game mode too. But anyway, you get the deal. Flexible Release, you can make the case that this could be higher just the fact that it's actually usable, but still, for those who, you know, are really about it on this game, you're not gonna shoot any lates or any earlies, and definitely not expect to make them when you shoot any earlies or lates. Moving along to the E tier, we got Pick and Popper, Slippery Off Ball, and Deep Fades. Here's my take on Deep Fades. If you're a post scorer and you're taking fades from more than 10 feet away, you already lost. Like, you're taking a bad shot. That's just my opinion. That's how I see it. And if y'all have played the two bigs where it's a post scorer and a glass cleaner or something like that, you guys know the deal. I mean, those 2-foot post fades are literally uncontestable. They're so OP. If they would fix that function, maybe deep fades would be usable, because then you could work your post game a little bit, get people to bite on your post spins, and just pull the deeper fade while you're wide open. But the fact of the matter is, you can even hit contested ones in the first place, and the closer you are, the easier it is to hit it. So it's just like, I don't know. If you're taking a deep fade as a post scorer, you already lost. That's my opinion. Slippery Off Ball, I feel like I would only use this if you're a build that has no shooting badges, or, you know, like one shooting badge, and, you know, just rock this on bronze as an inside big. As anybody, like, you know, as a play sharp, obviously you don't want this. You're gonna have the ball in your hand. As a two-way sharp, I feel like there's better badges up here you could utilize, and it's not a horrible badge. Like, the function of it isn't that bad. It's just, I don't think this is worth your badge points if you're an actual shooter. The reason I have it in the E tier, it's still usable, unlike these, and you know, like, it's something that you could put on if you're an inside big or you just don't have any shooting badges in general. Now, let me know if I'm sleeping on Pick and Popper, y'all. This is my thing. I don't even see rim sharps use this badge, honestly, and I just feel like, I don't know, for the most part, Pick and Pop is a very usable thing, don't get me wrong, but again, it's kind of the same thing as Slippery Off Ball. There's a lot better like just badge points you could use throughout the rest of this list, and Pick and Popper is just not one that's worth having, even for the builds that pertain to constantly pick and popping. That's just how I see it. Don't get me wrong, it's still a solid badge. It's just, you know, in years past when it was forced upon you, that's when it was still more functional, because like I said, you couldn't just, as a rim sharp, you couldn't just choose to have Hall of Fame range extender and catch and shoot and stuff like that. Obviously, you were forced to have things like Pick and Popper, so it was just something that kind of was forced upon you, and it was still like a solid badge. But like I said, it's just, there's better badge points throughout this list that you could use no matter what your build is if it pertains to pick and popping. So anyway, without further ado, we get straight into the D tier. We got Steady Shooter and Difficult Shots. Now, here's my thing with difficult shots. You don't need this to be able to hit like the off dribble middies. I'm talking like the fades. Now, you do need this to do the type of stuff Ticino will be doing with like the hop jumpers and stuff like that. So if that pertains to your playstyle, this badge moves up tremendously, probably to like A or B tier. But for those who just take off dribble middies or don't even do that in the first place, you know, it's very rare that people even utilize this badge if they were to have it. And like I said, you don't even need it to hit the off dribble mids. I've seen plenty of people who literally will just do it 8 for 8, go 16 points on 2v2, and then I go and look at their badges, they don't even got it. So anyway, and then, you know, moving on to Steady Shooter, this badge is still functional, and it's actually kind of annoying to deal with when somebody has it. It's just, obviously, it hinders your open shooting a little bit, and to be honest, if you go out of your way and shoot 80% jump shots, you're not, no matter how high you have this badge, I've seen my teammates use it on Hall of Fame just to like kind of mess around and just see what it can do. And yes, you can hit like crazy contested shots. I'm talking like 80%, crazy stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is, they're not shooting even near like 60%, 50% while doing so. It just enables you to hit crazy contested shots. So I have it in the D tier. It's an okay badge. It still hurts your open shooting as well, so just keep that in mind. But for the most part, you know, just kind of gimmicky badge. It's not really worth having if you're like in any comp sense or anything like that. Hot Start, Clutch Shooter, and Tireless Shooter as well. So Hot Start, great badge. I love it personally. I use this as well. If you don't miss, obviously this thing just keeps on building and building, and it's ridiculous, and it's really crazy, honestly, if you are really about this stuff. For 2v2, it makes a lot of sense to use. In 3s and Team Pro-Am, especially Team Pro-Am, this badge is horrible. Like, never equip this in Team Pro-Am, because you're gonna waste it for literally 95% of the game that you're in. But for 2v2, you could go games without missing easy, and this is actually a great badge to have. But just, you know, with everything taken into account, it's just not always, you know, active. So that's just what ranks this a little bit lower than I would want to put it. Clutch Shooter, same thing. It only works for certain situations in the game. Now, what I didn't know early in the year, like I'm talking 3-4 months ago, was that this works in Park. I was thinking this was just like a, you know, I have the description right here. The description of it says shot attempts that occur in the final moments of the fourth quarter or in any overtime period receive a large boost. Now, I didn't know that was the Park. Obviously, nothing in the description says it works in the Park, but it does. And the same thing with Clutch Shooter as Hot Start. It just doesn't always function, so that's what ranks this a little bit lower. But the boost that these both give you, as far as like this one early in the game and on until you miss, and this one late in the game, it's actually pretty big time. Now, I think the score discrepancy needs to be like 12 points or less, and it has to be like, you know, toward the end of the game as well. So just keep that in mind. But like I said, these badges are pretty solid. It's just that they don't constantly work like all these other ones do. Tireless Shooter, pretty solid as well. It's just, again, it's very circumstantial, and you don't always need it to be active. And I don't know, like at the end of the day, you can make up with this if you buy Gatorade, if you have stuff like that. Kind of like I was talking about in yesterday's video, how I use Relentless Finisher only on bronze because I have the Gatorade bar that I have for hidden SS3. I have, you know, I buy the Gatorade as well, and then my player is a 99 overall, so I have max stamina. I would probably say Tireless Shooter is kind of the same thing, where if you're a high rep, if you buy your Gatorade, if you have a 99 overall as well and your stamina's maxed, don't really need this quite as much, just the fact that, but I don't know, it's very different as a dribbler, because even if you have all those things, you're still going to be tired sometimes shooting. But regardless, it's a good badge to have. It's just, again, very circumstantial. You don't always need it to be activated. And this is where we get into some of the really good ones. So in this one, we have the 2 role player badges. We got Corner Specialist and Catch and Shoot, and then Volume Shooter, which is a very non-role player badge. So, you know, these are very polar opposites, but at the end of the day, these 2 are great. Obviously improve your role player shooting. You know, you're just sitting in the corner, or, you know, running around the perimeter and just get the catch and shoot. It's pretty self-explanatory badges. They're very good. They're very like widely used and known, and it pertains to a lot of people's playstyles. And then Volume Shooter, 2K Labs did a study on this. This is a big time badge as well, as far as if you're like a very ball dominant point guard, and you know, I'll just put it like this. If you're a ball hog, you know, the more shots you put up, the better your 3-point rating gets. Combine this with Clutch Shooter, you're gonna be shooting lights out at the end of the game. And I don't mean to say that gimmickly, but like for real, if you combine these 2 badges late in the game, it's pretty crazy. Now, the thing about all these badges right here is a lot of point guards don't have, you know, the badge points to use on anything lower than C tier. Like, they don't be using anything like lower than Tireless, Hot Start, Clutch Shooter, anything like that. They barely even use these badges. As you're going to see in the A and S tier, these things dominate for most shooters in the game, but these things can be very useful as well. I think Volume Shooter is something that you should put on your list if you're somebody who has around 20 shooting badges, and you can like really go crazy with this thing. But like I said, for those who have like more role player builds, Corner Specialist, Catch and Shoot obviously pertain to your playstyle more, so that's just that. But anyway, moving along to the A tier and then the S tier right after that. So here's the thing, we got 5 badges here, and I wasn't sure if one of these badges up here belonged in the A tier or S tier, so we'll just call that one like an A and S tier. It's a very hard one to figure out where to put. But anyway, starting with the A, we got Hot Zone Hunter and Green Machine. These things are big time as well. Hot Zone Hunter was honestly S tier at the beginning of the game, when, you know, like your park hot zones were also your MYCAREER hot zones as well. So you could just go out here and just go crazy and just grind your MYCAREER hot zones, never touch them again, and then boom, you have hot zones everywhere. Obviously, Hot Zone Hunter pertains to only the things that you have in the red. So I'll just put it like this. It's still a great badge. Anybody that shoots the ball at a decent rate is going to have hot zones almost everywhere, except for mid-range. I will say, like, you know, if you play a lot of 3s and then you hop on the 2s as a play sharp, your mid-range hot zones are kind of not looking too good. I'll put it like that, because you haven't been shooting as many mids. That's how my teammates especially kind of deal with this badge. But as you know, this is something that you're going to keep at the highest level no matter what. as long as you are a ball handler. It's really as simple as that. And then green machine, this is where a lot of people may like feel different about this. I've seen some people use this on bronze, some people use it on Hall of Fame, you know, and everything in between, but it's a great badge. I mean, it's just, you know, the fact that you have to hit them in succession is kind of the tough thing about it. You got to hit 2 greens in a row to even, like, you know, have it take any effect. So it's just like, you know, part of like shooting greens is in the thumbs as well, but to have this badge also allows you to just have outstanding games where you go 6 for 6, all greens, stuff like that. And it's just, it is a great badge. That's why it's in the A tier. Now, this right here, you can see Deadeye is right here. Here's what we're gonna do with this, because I didn't know what to put it on, so boom, we're just gonna do that. All right, I didn't know if Deadeye belonged in the same breath as Quick Draw and Range Extender, so I'm gonna go ahead and say it's like mostly an A tier, but it's still up there, because the thing that this thing can do, it's like Steady Shooter, but it doesn't penalize your open shooting. And to have this on Hall of Fame is very big time, especially for the late contest, and just to be able to, you know, function properly in a pick and roll setting. Now, for ISO, it's not as needed. Deadeye isn't as big of a deal when it comes to ISO, because you're going to be able to take efficient open shots and you have an open paint to deal with. But as far as pick and roll goes, Deadeye is a top tier badge for sure. But like I said, I wasn't sure if it really reaches the level of elite that Quick Draw and Range Extender do. So we're just gonna go ahead and throw this like right here, because I don't know where to put it, honestly. Let me know what y'all would put it, what you would put Deadeye at, A tier or S tier. Just let me know. But anyway, moving along, like I said, we got Quick Draw and Range Extender. These two are the glue of every shooting build in NBA 2K20. Now, you don't always need Range Extender if you're like a role player, obviously, so that is one thing to keep in mind. But just how OP it is as a pick and roll ball handler, or just ISO ball handler, or even, you know, pick and pop, whatever it is. If you're a ball handler and you're near the wing, Range Extender is OP. It's crazy. And then same with like the bigs too, and the pick and pop. This is big time. Like I said earlier, you know, as far as pick and popper, you know, in years past, you were forced to have badges like pick and popper. Maybe you would even be forced to have something like this if it were a badge back then. And, you know, you'd even have things like, you know, to pertain to your post fades and stuff like that, like difficult shots. But the fact of the matter is, now that you can put on whatever badges you want, you have rim sharps with badges like Hot Zone Hunter, Deadeye, Range Extender, Quick Draw, and that's just the fact of the matter. So that's why I'm saying anything lower than like maybe even C tier for a shooting, like a shooting big, wouldn't even be used. And that's why, same thing with point guards, they don't really use anything lower than C tier. And anything like D through F, you rarely see on any build, honestly. it's pretty crazy. But anyway, this is a pretty easy like list to do aside from just Deadeye, in my opinion. Like I said, if y'all have disagreements, feel free to let me know. And like I said, just drop a comment and tell me your opinions as well. But other than that, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties, all that good stuff. If you made it to the very end of the vid, put list in the comments just to show me your support and that you made it all the way through. But other than that, like I said, I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and take it easy, man. Peace.